Hello, it's Joe here for Joyrider TV. Today we're going to have a look at Hobie 16 rig tuning, how we can alter shroud settings, rig tension for different crew weights in different conditions. Let's have a look. Okay, so before we jump in with the details, what is most important to consider is if you already like the way your boat feels, don't necessarily change anything. These numbers and measurements are just for guidelines to help you get your boat in the right spot. We'll start off with troubleshooting before we get stuck in. If your rudders feel too heavy and they are set up correctly, check out the rudder servicing video. Then your mast is too far back, putting too much load on the rudders. If you can sheet in block to block too easily, like if it doesn't take any effort to sheet in block to block, or if having sheeted in block to block you don't feel that you have enough power, either your mast is too far back or your traveller is too far out. If it's too hard to sheet in block to block, if having sheeted in block to block you don't have enough power, either your mast is too far forwards or your traveller is too far in. And finally, if when you're sailing on a reach or downwind, the boat feels like it wants to nosedive all of the time, your mast is probably too far forwards or you're just trying to sail with too much power. Okay, so this is how we'll measure the mast rake on the 16. I've tied the capsize righting line to the end of the main halyard and pulled it up the mast to give us a bit more rope. With this pulled tight, we're going to just place that on the bow tang bolt, and then we're going to put a mark on there with pen, and then we're going to take the halyard again, pulled tight. This is with the rig tension on, that's important, and we're just going to put it on the back corner of the hull, and we'll make a mark there as well. Just measure the distance between the two marks. There we go. So if your combined crew weight is under 125 kilos, then you'll set the shroud on the bottom hole. 78 centimeters, the difference between those two marks. Combined crew weight is between 125 and 135 kilos. Then we'll go one hole from the bottom. Number two, we're looking at 69 centimeters, the difference between those two marks. So we'd have the shroud set in the third hole from the bottom if your crew weight is between 135 and 145 kilograms. Hole number three with stock shrouds should equal 48 centimeters. 145 kilos, we're setting the shrouds on the fourth hole there. We'd never go higher than the fourth hole because that will just take the mast too far forwards. There we go, the fourth hole is 44 centimeters. We're just going to pull the halyard forwards, that's going to pull the mast forwards. And we're just going to make sure the mast can still rotate freely, if you can. And then that would be the rig tension on. With the rig tension, what we'll do is, regardless of which shroud setting you've got your boat in, we're going to loosen the rig off if you start feeling quite overpowered, so you have to sail with either the main sheet or the traveller out all the time. What we'll do is we're just going to let off about this much rig tension. So that's quite a small amount of rig tension, but it will make a big difference. So that was about an inch of rig tension on the halyard there. Let that much off, and then that should make a significant difference to the amount of power and control you have on the boat. With the setup of the jib, what we're doing is generally setting the tack of the jib in the third hole. That's pretty standard. Any lower down and we can't get enough tension on the jib sheets. So that's as low down as we can get the tack of the jib. We're using the shackle like this to get the blocks as close to the jib as possible, and then for heavier wind conditions we'll set it one hole down from the middle. That's just going to help to open up the leach of the sail, and for standard lighter conditions we're going to put it on the middle hole. So I hope that's been useful. Hope that's answered the Hobie 16 mast setup questions. Thanks for watching. If you've been enjoying these videos and you're wondering how can you give something back, then do check out the link to my Patreon page in the description below and get involved there. Otherwise, thank you very much. More coming soon.